my friend, welcome.
Hi, good to be back.
Thrilled to have you back. I know we need to get you some more time off, but thrilled to have you back.
Well,
We've
this
all
summer.
missed you. Okay.
Definitely.
But I want you to know that so many people have written in and said virtual hugs to you and to Wyatt and the whole family, and we love you so much. We weren't going to do this.
No.
But you look beautiful.
Thank you.
And we adore you.
Thank
and
you.
so glad that you're back.
Thank you.
And I just want to hold your hand because everybody else would want to do that too. So, all right.
So we're back, and one of my favorite kids in the world is here today.
Yes.
For our autism family portraits, and his mom.
Yes.
One of my favorite, Diane Bernstein and Jeremy Bernstein. And this young man, he's very good friends with Wyatt.
Yes.
And he is just
He's a
absolutely
delight.
adorable. He's a delight. He has his own jewelry making business. He's a thriving entrepreneur.
Yes. And he's just a teenager.
He's a teenager,
pretty
yeah.
incredible.
So we're going to have Diane and Jeremy on, and that's going to be really fun.
Yeah. First, we have some news. Some of which, we always have to. Should we do the bad first?
Let's
and
do
just
the bad
rip off the
first.
Band-Aid and get through it.
Yeah.
Big story going around in the news this week about Europe's cure for autism is euthanasia, and there's one patient in particular that we're seeing that the Dutch have a policy that if someone asks to be euthanized and there are certain reasons that they can ask for it, it can be upon the voluntary and well-considered request of those suffering unbearably from incurable mental conditions.
Which they said he suffered terribly from his inability to form relationships. Is that really what we would call an incurable condition?
And I take exception to the whole thing, but there's one patient in particular who's known as 2014-77 because to protect his identity, he was somebody who suffered from neglect and abuse. When he was 10 years old, doctors diagnosed him with autism, and for 2 decades after that, he was found in and out of treatment and repeatedly made attempts to end his own life. Now, my question is, how much of this was a product of autism and how much of it was a product of the fact that there was nobody there for him?
Exactly.
Wouldn't
every one of our children, be it typical or atypical, that suffered abuse and neglect, have issues? I haven't seen the movie Room, but I read the book.
Yeah.
And that deals, of course, with the reentry of a boy who lived in captivity. We know these children suffer just horrific, and any child, particularly one on the spectrum, would need, I think, intensive intervention and treatment after that from the actual trauma.
Absolutely. And for this particular young man, he repeatedly asked his doctor to have him euthanized because of the law that they have. The doctor refused, but according to what their standards are, he is supposed to, if he does refuse, he's supposed to let his colleagues know that this has happened. And one of his colleagues treated this young man for a year and then decided to and they euthanized him.
And they euthanized in 2009, a 37-year-old Belgian woman became distraught after a romantic breakup, so she was obviously able to have relationships. She began seeking a doctor to euthanize her, which, per Belgium's law, is similar to Holland's. The woman, it says Tine Nice, had a history of mental illness, including a teenage suicide attempt, but in more recent times have been doing well. In February 2010, she received a new diagnosis of autism, and 2 months later, a lethal injection. A lethal injection.
Yeah, unbelievable. And the reason why this is coming to light right now is there's a great deal of concern that there will be more of this, that it seems to be spreading in Europe, that this is how we handle this. Really disgusting, I think, and inappropriate. And something that we don't want to spread. Now, Kelby shared with us a really fun story, and it's on our Facebook page about prodigies and what they can teach us. And what I love in the article is it starts by talking about the fact that we've all been amazed by something that our kids can do.
Yeah, Wyatt's art sometimes just blows me away. I'm like, I could never do that.
Absolutely. And there have been things that Jem can do that I go, okay, that's just
right.
But that doesn't necessarily make them a prodigy.
Correct. And a lot of people have that misunderstanding that I'm sure sure you've had people say this to you. When you tell them you have a child on the spectrum, they go, oh, well, aren't they brilliant in certain areas? Not necessarily.
Right. Not necessarily.
Right.
That's not a requirement of an autism diagnosis. All of our kids are not savants.
No.
Right? But anyway, they define a prodigy, as a pre-adolescent child who performs an adult professional level in a demanding field. So I don't know, maybe Wyatt is a prodigy. I don't think Jem is, but maybe Wyatt is an art.
Well,
Maybe
no,
that
his art is a result of his STEM and his ability to concentrate and the way he likes to take a color and plop it and then take another color and plop it, but maybe that's a prodigy. I mean, they certainly called, who's the guy that Ed Harris played? Pollock.
Right, Pollock.
They called that a prodigy, and he was just squirting tubes.
Right.
So you never know.
And I will say this, Wyatt does that with the regularity of a profession.
He does.
He does not take breaks. He is serious about his art. Every time I talk to you in the early evening, it is so funny because the conversation in the background is always about color.
Mom, what color is this? And you'll hear him say, is this a cerulean blue or is this a royal blue?
Or is this cornflower blue? That is always the conversation that they are having.
And I go into the kitchen, I'll say, hold on, Shannon. I'm like, I would call that a periwinkle blue.
I said I'm going to get them a set of Pantone colors at some point so that they can define, because he wants to know what is the definition for this color. That's a very high level thing that he's doing.
Yeah.
So maybe Wyatt is a prodigy.
We'll see. And maybe Jeremy is with jewelry. We'll look at some
Absolutely.
of that.
But definitely check out, great article in the New York Times, and we're sharing it on our Facebook, and thank you, Kelby, for sharing that with us.
Yes.
And then there's a new study looking at, we're always looking at what the social deficit is, and they think that they've identified a part of the brain, that there is a segment of the brain that they're calling it a river, that seems to be where social things happen, and there seems to be a bit of a different river.
It's a groove, it says. They found that many of these skills involve a long groove on the brain's bumpy surface that runs around each side of the head over the ears. The groove is called the superior temporal sulcus, STS, and is the home of numerous differences in function between people with autism and typically developing people.
Very interesting. I know we've had an opportunity to look at Temple Grandin's brain and see a CAT scan of what her brain looks like and how differently it's set up.
Now that's a genius right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there's
definitely
a
prodigy.
All right. So those are our news stories.
Okay.
Let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to be joined by the fabulous Diane and Jeremy Bernstein. This is the next installment in our series about autism family portraits. Stick with us. Welcome back to Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. I am joined in the studio right now by Jeremy and Diane Bernstein. I want to mention that Nancy was called away for a very important phone call. She's going to come back in when she can. I know you guys understand that sometimes that's just how it goes, right? Sometimes you got to take the call when you got to take the call, right? So poor Nancy felt bad, but she had to step out. She will be back, but we're thrilled that you guys are here. This is part of a series that we're doing called Autism Family Portraits, and we love to have an opportunity to have parents to come in and talk about what their experience is, and when possible, to have their children, whether they're adults or younger, that are on the spectrum, to be with them. So we're thrilled that you had the opportunity to be with us today too, Jeremy. You've been on our show before, Diane, and you are an amazing mom. I don't get to things very often, but you are at everything. You find a way to be there. You guys go places, you do things, you represent in the best possible way. But you're very active and an advocate and someone who deals with art and helps people to find their inner artist, in particular individuals who are on the autism spectrum. And so we appreciate that work. And here you have this lovely and talented son who is an artist in his own right and a jewelry designer. And you're only 16 years old, Jeremy, so this is amazing to me that you already have your own business. So we want to talk a little bit about that, but let's start with the beginning of this journey. You're an only child, Jeremy, or do you have brothers and sisters?
I'm an only child.
And do you like being an only child?
Yeah, I was getting all the attention.
And that's the right answer, isn't it? That is the best part about being an only child.
Yeah.
And so, Diane, tell us a little bit about when Jeremy came into your life, and at what point did you realize that there was an autism spectrum diagnosis?
I think I was very late. I consider myself an older parent. I had a lot of self-blame that if only I could get this right, if only I could do better, faster, whatever hoops to jump through, I would do, and then that would make the difference, but it did not.
Okay. So how old was he when he got a diagnosis?
4.5.
4.5. Okay. And back then the diagnosis, you could get classic autism, you could get PDD-NOS, you could get Asperger's. What did they tell you?
High functioning at the time. They since added ADHD, a little bit of. You want to say it?
You can say it.
Tourette's, just a little.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't know how much really still.
Okay. And but he was diagnosed as high functioning at that age, so
Yeah.
he must have been talking.
He did have a language drop at 18 months, and we actually had it on video, and that's what enabled us to get services at the time using
Yeah.
that video and showing that drop, because at that time it was difficult to get services if you were talking, if you had some
Yes.
intelligence,
Yeah.
and it wasn't ever about Jeremy's being bright.
Right. No, he's sharp as a tack. You're a smart guy. But yeah, because the diagnosis, there was and there still is something in the diagnosis, but they've loosened it up a little bit, that said you had to have onset of symptoms before the age of 3 in order to get an autism diagnosis. And if you didn't have that, you were much more likely to be categorized as PDD-NOS or Asperger's or nothing at all. No diagnosis, misdiagnosed. Now it's that there must be some component before the age of 5, I believe, is what the new criteria is. So, and at that point, at 4.5, what did you decide to do? How did you decide to go? Did you know what to do, Diane?
We were advised by an attorney. I don't know if we want to mention good names, but
If it's somebody you like,
Sareed
sure.
Ariam.
Okay.
And not only did she was aggressive in her, she's got a wonderful way. I don't know if you know who she is. She's
I have not
very
met her.
soft-spoken, but she was aggressive for us with getting us on board with both the school district, with the behavior aid and regional center. We had all services coming on board at once at that time.
Okay. And so here's my question for you, Jeremy, because I always like to ask our teens that are on the spectrum, what do you remember anything from that time period? Do you remember starting therapy? Do you remember being frustrated?
Yeah, I remember quite a bit. Here's
Okay.
the weird thing. I remember some images in my mom's stomach.
Oh, you can remember being in your mom's stomach?
Yes.
That's amazing.
I'm going to tell you a little bit about it really quickly.
Okay, tell me.
Basically, when I was when I was in my mom's stomach, basically I was scared and I felt hopeless and basically because it's stinky, it smelled bad in there. So and it was very stinky and it was too dark. I couldn't see.
Okay.
It was very hard for me to keep consciousness and stay fully awake. So I slept most of the time. But when I wasn't awake, I started kicking my mom's stomach, trying to get out. But what usually stopped me from doing that for a little bit of time is listen to my mom's heartbeat, which calmed me down and it reminded me I'm gonna be out of here soon.
Wow, that's amazing. And now, when was he born? Did you birth him, or did you end up having a
C-section.
C-section? Okay, it's interesting because I had to have a
And-
C-section too.
9'4".
Okay, 'cause, my son was 10 and 1 ounce, so I feel your pain. So mom had to have a C-section to have you come out. Amazing.
I know someone that that knew for a little bit that whose baby I guess he actually was 13.2.
Wow, that's a big baby.
I know.
And the reason why I asked that is because they've done some studies that kids that are born of C-section report much more often that they have memories before they were born.
Oh.
Isn't that interesting?
Oh.
Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
And who knows what that's based in, but kids who are born from C-section tend to report either they remember past life or that they remember being in the womb or whatever. So I don't
just
know.
thought he was perceptive.
I don't know. But anyway,
I do agree with her on that.
I mean, this
I
is what the
have
studies
heard
have
that.
shown. This is what the studies have shown. So, we can postulate what that might mean. I don't know. But anyway, so he got some services. Let's talk a little bit about what worked for you. What do you think? So for families watching that you can say, hey, this was good for us. This really helped him.
Do you want to ask? Who do you want to ask first?
I want to ask you first.
Okay,
and then we'll ask Jeremy.
I would say that when we did those inclusive play dates, that we would have play dates out in playground in the community, Pirates Park, all of those that I did set up, but I had an agency to help me set it up. That IECP, Inclusion, Education, and Community Partnership program, to me, that actually set you apart socially and gave you extra social skills that I really think have helped you when you've had to be meeting and greeting the public in your jewelry business.
And what do you think? Do you remember that? And do you think that helped you, Jeremy?
Yeah, it's helped me quite a bit.
What do you think has helped you the most?
My loving parents.
Oh, what a good answer. My loving parents. Did somebody coach you in that, or is that your own answer?
That's my own answer.
That's a good answer too, Jeremy.
Yeah.
And I think, as I look at you and the fact that you guys are always out doing things, and so there's always an opportunity for Jeremy to socialize. We were at an event that not too long ago, and you guys arrived, and we had been there a little bit longer than you guys had been, but it was because you had just come from another event, and you said, "Oh, we were just at this, and tomorrow we're going to this." You have a full social calendar. Do you ever get bored just hanging around at home? Is that why you guys are out so much? You like to go? You like to be with the people?
I like being with people sometimes, or I'm just prefer on my iPad.
Oh, okay. So when you have your quiet time at home, you're on the iPad.
Yeah.
Is there anything
Or
else?
stuff.
And
Or mainly my iPad.
what do you like to play more than anything else on your iPad?
Clash of Clans.
You know what? I am just playing Clash of Clans now because somebody recommended, because my son likes to play video games, and they said this was a good one that I could play with him. So I am building, we'll have to talk about clans.
Maybe you can join my clan.
I would
later.
love to join your clan later.
What town hall are you?
I think it's a 7.
That's got town hall 8, level 95.
I don't even know what that means, Jeremy. I'm a newbie at Clash of Clans, but we'll talk
Well,
Clash
if
of
you're down with 7, you're a newbie, you must have really town hall rushed.
I think probably I did.
That's not good. You won't get upset.
I'll show you on my phone, and you can critique my because I don't
I'd
know.
probably help you out at your base.
Okay.
But let's go back to Central. We can do it after the interview.
All right. We'll talk after the interview. In fact, we should probably take a short break, and then we'll come back and talk about your jewelry business and what you're doing now and what you do with others for art. That is, you do it for everybody, but you've done it for him, and how important that is. So stick with us. We're going to be back more with the Bernsteins after this message. Welcome back. And you just saw a piece featuring entrepreneurs who are on the autism spectrum, and we happen to have an entrepreneur who's on the autism spectrum with us here right now. Jeremy Bernstein is here, and his mom, Diane Bernstein, is here with us as well. And both of you are artists, and you work with individuals to help them to find their artistic voice. In particular, individuals who are on the autism spectrum, but you work with a lot of people, don't you? Tell us a little bit about what you do with that.
There's a couple companies that I'm working with right now. One is Winefield Education Group, and they're providing help with the IEP. And so I'm helping with outreach for this company. They're very collaborative, which is why I would work from them from my previous experience at Division of Special Education, where I was a parent community liaison for several years doing resource fairs and planning there.
Yes.
But actually, to me, right now, the most exciting thing that has come up is self-determination.
Yes.
Self-determination, I'm a family facilitator, what's called an independent facilitator, certified by the Autism Society of Los Angeles. And so somebody like Jeremy could use funds that typically might not be working for him with Regional Center to actually target exactly areas of need. Perhaps he needs transportation to a jewelry show. And so and somebody also like Jeremy can document in the past what's called unmet needs.
Yeah.
Judy Mark is actually an excellent speaker on this issue, and that would be, for example, that I used my respite worker to go to jewelry shows for years and didn't take my respite, so that we could end up having a third person. You really need 2 people at a table when you go to be a vendor. So that's how I did it, but that actual cost is something that I could use to raise our funds. So for families that don't have a lot of funds with regional center, maybe they're not using a lot of services. I encourage them to use their services as much as possible. Go to all the conferences. That's why I do show up everywhere that I go.
Yes.
Even with things like we're moving right now, I just make sure we continue to show up, give value to others, because you never know when somebody is going to end up being helpful in your life. And in this case, for finding housing for us,
Yeah.
this was recent. I'm in a women's relationship group, and one of the Sterling sisters knew somebody, and that's how we were able to get past the housing that's going on with Porter Ranch right now. So.
And I just want to backtrack a little bit to say that, self-determination is a law that was fought for really, everybody banded together to fight for this law in the state of California. You may not have this law in your state, but we always like to let people know what's happening in California, because as California goes, and if it's successful, we see other states adopt policies that are useful in California. And it's been a way to allow our older population, older teens and adults on the autism spectrum, with something in California, the regional center, it allows them to look at what their services are and have them make sense. It's not a cookie cutter, it's not one size fits all. And as you said, there are many families that, because they don't fit the cookie cutter, then they don't use the services. And self-determination allows you to pick and choose how and when you're going to use your services in a way that's meaningful. So that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And you also referenced, what I found out recently, I was at a conference with a bunch of people from around the country that they weren't hearing about what was happening in Porter Ranch. We'd just gone through here in Los Angeles something quite devastating, that there was a gas leak, a methane gas leak, and other horrible chemicals, cancer-causing chemicals that were with the methane, and an entire community here in Los Angeles, a huge, lovely, fabulous community, had to be evacuated, and not just for a weekend. This was over 2 months. It started on October 27th, I believe, and they just capped it, and they're encouraging families to go home, but they've extended the period of time before they have to go home. In the midst of all this, you lost the place where you guys were living and have had to find a new place. And finding housing right now when this entire community has been displaced is next to impossible. But you've done it. We're happy to report that you've got a place to go to. It maybe isn't the most ideal, but you're making it work. And I bring that up because in talking about what it's like for an autism family, I think a lot of times people think, well, I certainly thought this, well, if we have autism, then that's all we have to deal with, and that's almost never the case.
Don't cry,
Real
Mom.
real life.
Don't cry, Mom.
Yeah, real life. You have everything and more going on. I mean, Nancy just lost her husband. You lost your home to this Porter Ranch nightmare. It's not easy. It's not easy, but you power through, you continue on, and this whole time...
If you power through, that means you don't cry, Mom.
Well, not necessarily. Girls get to cry all the time, and
That's
we're
true.
encouraging boys to cry whenever they want to, and telling them that it's okay to
Boo, boo.
cry. Do you ever cry, Jeremy?
Sometimes.
But what's your rule about when can you cry? When is it allowed?
Just usually not for females.
Oh, not in front of females. Well, that's a pretty...
It's kind of the same about farting around females.
Well,
Except that you definitely don't want to do.
I like
If you
that
actually
rule.
do need to cry, like right here now, I do occasionally cry to females. So occasionally I do, it's just, I try not to though.
Okay. Well,
It's kind of
I
the
think
same
that's a
with
pretty
farting
good...
on females.
I think those are pretty good 16-year-old boy rules. I think that
True.
probably works. Later on, when you're older, and I hope that you are happily married, then you're allowed to cry in front of girls. It's okay. In my opinion. So I want to know, Jeremy, when did you start making jewelry?
Yay! It's my turn
It
now.
was your turn. You waited so patiently. So
Thank
when
you.
did you start making jewelry?
It was and I was trying in a portrait project called Dreams and Jobs. And a year or two, or maybe like 3 years later, I turned that into a jewelry making business. I've been in my jewelry making business for almost 8 years now.
Wow. And so what is it about making jewelry that you really love?
I just love how how it encourages other entrepreneurs and other businessmen to continue their dreams.
Yeah.
And this is important. I want everyone to really hear this. I encourage all businessmen and all entrepreneurs to follow your dreams. Do not hesitate to not follow your dreams. And whenever you come up with a vision or a dream, don't hesitate to follow your dreams no matter what obstacles are in your way.
I think that's good advice. So I see that Mom is wearing some jewelry. Is this happen to be jewelry that you have made?
This one is.
This one.
Let's go take it off and I'll show everyone.
Okay,
I
easy
wanna
on it.
see. Yeah. That's beautiful, Jeremy.
I made this one a long time ago, many years ago.
Wow.
It's one of my best pieces back then.
And so are there specific kinds of things that you like to make jewelry out of?
Yeah.
Or specific kinds of jewelry that you like to make?
I usually use semi-precious stones.
Okay.
I used to use all plastic beads. I got a few examples that are still surviving.
Right.
But now I hardly ever use plastic beads in the US. I got fancy stuff. I only use plastic beads like that. Only, for example, like a roulette plastic bead, but had to have a roulette bead. I have some
think I
are
know what you're talking
plastic.
about,
I had cheaper kinds, some are plastic, and then they got like fake jewels.
Right.
Some are real, so they're more expensive.
Yeah.
But usually I get those ones like my grandma.
Uh-huh.
And her examples are like ours is a plastic bead. It's a flower on that and there's Swarovski crystal in the center of the flower.
Ooh, I'll bet that's pretty. And do you particularly like to make bracelets, or do you make bracelets, necklace,
I
earrings?
make bracelets, necklaces, sometimes earrings, and sometimes rings.
Okay.
But I'm not done talking. Basically, I use some precious stones, glass beads, Brazilian beads from my Uncle Michael. I get many donations from around the world. I got some Israeli beads. And beads from all over the world. And I got a lot from Brazil. Brazilian nut beads, like preserved Brazilian nut beads. What else? I got all kinds of beads. I got a big variety.
And can I ask you, when you shop for your beads, are you shopping online, or do you go someplace to buy
Usually,
beads?
most of them I get for donations. But for strings, I don't usually get string donations. I usually go to Michael's, and when I'm there, occasionally I buy some beads there.
Okay.
They usually vary so.
Are you careful to use the
Sorry.
coupon when you go to Michael's? Do you know about the coupon at Michael's?
we
haven't.
No, but he's got a couple jewelry mentors. Do you want to mention them?
Oh yeah, I mentioned your jewelry.
Like, can you tell us about coupon first?
I do
Okay.
want to tell you about the coupon at Michael's. There are certain stores that when you go, you need to sign up to get the coupons. Or in the Sunday paper, each week there is a Michael's coupon that lets you buy something usually between 40 to 50% off. I never go to Michael's without checking what the coupons are online. The last time I was at Michael's was 2 weeks ago, and the woman ahead of me was buying $110 worth of stuff, and I had the coupon online, and she didn't have the coupon, and it was for 30% off your entire order. And I said to her, "You need to use this coupon." And she said, "Oh, I don't have it." I said, "Use mine. You're going to save a whole bunch of money." She took her whole family out to lunch on what she saved. So if you're going to buy things at Michael's, you have to use the coupon.
And take you out to lunch.
You can do that, but you don't have to. You can do something else with the money. But it'll save you a whole bunch of money if you're buying a lot of stuff at Michael's.
True.
It's a little tip from Shannon.
What about your mentors who teach
yeah, tell me
jewelry?
about
So
your
a
mentors.
tip from Cheyenne.
From Cheyenne. They were calling me Cheyenne earlier. So Jeremy and I were laughing about that. He's going to call me Cheyenne forever now.
That's right, Cheyenne.
I kind of like that. Cheyenne works for me. So tell me about your mentors.
There's one that passed away less than a year ago. Her name was Jane Marcos. She passed through cystic fibrosis. If you don't know about cystic fibrosis, let me explain. Cystic fibrosis is a lung disease, where you gotta get a lung transplant. And most people with cystic fibrosis die in their mid-30s. She had it since she's young, very young, and basically she lasted until she's 42 years old. When most people with cystic fibrosis died in their mid-30s.
Wow.
She lived a very long life for most of her life.
But still, it seems very young to have died. You must have
True.
been very sad when she died.
You were.
But it's been about a year now.
True.
I know when you and I went to see Logan Shepherd, your mom brought you, and Kelby and I happened to be there to hear him play on the drums. We talked about the fact that Wyatt, you're good friends with Wyatt, and that his dad was sick, and that you know a great deal about loss, and that you've been a really good friend to Wyatt about that, about what it's like. Have you had a chance to see Wyatt recently?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, I heard that you guys were going to go jump on trampolines or something.
Yeah, Sky has sports.
Well, I really want to thank you for being such a good friend to him, because I think he needs a friend really very badly right now, and a friend who understands that he's going through some emotions, having lost his dad. So you were telling me about your mentors, though. I got off on a tangent. Who else besides
Tantrum.
Shannon on a tangent?
Cheyenne
on a
on a
tangent.
tangent.
That's what I meant to say. So who are your other mentors?
There's one more. Her name is Jay Marcos.
No, you said.
No, sorry, Nikki Michelle.
Okay.
And basically, she's going to GIA, Gemological Institute, Carlsbad.
Okay.
And she doesn't get to be me right, but she's in Carlsbad. With going to GIA, Gemological Institute of America.
Wow.
So I'll get with her, but when she's with me, she helps me a lot.
Very cool.
So it's a good possibility with the money that he's been earning and being able to save that he can do an online course and certification at the same school
Wow.
when he graduates.
Very cool. Now, is this what you want to do when you're all done with school, is design jewelry and make jewelry? And so do you have plans, this is the school that you're going to go to, do you have plans to go to college or anything after you
I'm
get done with high
going
school?
to community college.
Community college,
Oh,
okay.
I didn't know.
And what will you study when you're in community college?
I like to study about history.
Okay. Very
And
cool.
maybe like some about, if it was a class about jewelry making, I'd take that. If not, then I'd probably just I just learn about the arts.
I love that. I
Like
absolutely
not
love
really
it.
arts, but like probably not about the arts, because if there's no jewelry, I'm not sure if I want to do it. I'd probably do history, and what else?
And you don't have to decide now. I always
Yeah,
tell
I'm
that
not
to
sure,
Jen.
but I definitely want to learn about history though.
Very cool. Now you
And
had-
we're not done. After I finish community college, I like to finish my rest of the years of college at GIA. Once I get better grades, I can do community college.
Okay. And so one of the things that you said was really important was how supportive your parents have been. How
True.
have your parents supported you?
I would say millions of ways, honestly, and that's no joke. It may be exaggerated a tiny bit, but I mean, I'd say a few hundred thousand ways.
Okay, can you give me an example of one?
That's a tough one.
There's millions of ways, but you can't tell me one way.
Try to
What-
think
what
of a
is-
very boring way.
What does mom do that helps you to make your jewelry?
She pushes me a good way to make more stuff.
Okay. Now, how does she do that? Does she remind you?
She just reminds me, she just like use these as food as incentive.
Okay. I
But
love
she
that.
also have my iPad as incentive.
Oh, an iPad is a good incentive.
You have a jewelry teacher.
True.
What's her name?
Raquel.
Okay. And so where do you sell your jewelry, Jeremy?
All over the place.
And so if somebody wants to get more information, do you have a website for your jewelry?
No, I don't have a website, but I am on Facebook.
Okay.
You can find me at Jeremy, and that's my first name. My last name is Bernstein. There's like 60 or 70 Jeremy Bernsteins with that same exact name. So if you want to find me, add me as a friend. Look, my profile picture shows me. My glasses, these same glasses.
Uh-huh.
It
You
shows
have-
me the thumbs up and me on my front porch with black and white cat on me, and my dad's shoes hanging out front top of the picture.
That's your personal page. You just made a business page recently.
My business page. I would probably not accept anyone I do not know on my personal page. So what I recommend you do is you like and put some comments on my business page, which is JJ Jewelers. JJ is both cap. There's no dots,
Are you
and then there's capital J, and I'm pretty sure the rest of it. Everything is all caps, I'm pretty sure. If
Did
not, they will then there's the capital J, two capital J's, one, and the next word, one capital J, and the rest lowercase.
Can you show your shirt, what you made, and you've designed your new business
I'm sorry,
banner
my
and logo?
walkie-talkie. This is my logo right here,
JJ.
and basically, like this is my jewelry business, and and it's my logo that I designed. I created myself after a few weeks of work with Mondo Rosales. He's a designer, and he does like superhero comic book drawings, and he also does logo and website design.
Okay, we need to take a break, and then we're going to come back more with Jeremy and Diane Bernstein. So stick
Okay,
with
bye
us.
everyone. See you next time.
Welcome back. Look who we found.
Look who you found in the hallway. Hey, Jeremy.
Hi.
Hi, Diane.
So nice to see you. We
I
love
know,
you.
I love you both.
I love you.
Oh, I adore you. I love
I
this
adore
kid.
you also.
Oh. You know, and Wyatt just loves you. You're like a big brother to him, aren't you?
I know.
Yeah. When Diane and Jeremy come to my special needs ministry at Prince of Peace Church, which is the third Saturday of every month, and you love coming there and sitting with Wyatt, and you and Wyatt have done. You and Wyatt did an art show together just recently.
Oh, yes.
Remember?
Hey, why you
couple.
say fight? I actually get to have wine there.
What was that, honey?
You want to say I actually get to have wine there?
You get to have wine there. You take communion. Is that what you're talking
Oh,
about?
yeah, that little bit.
Yeah,
yes.
but it's got. I'm not even 21. That's a weird thing.
Oh, okay. Well, I wanted to just ask about.
Wine is actually pretty good. I like the beer taste.
You do?
Yeah,
It's not
pretty
bad.
good.
I like it too. I like wine too.
I just never tried beer, rum, or stuff like that. But I already tried that.
Yeah,
one
you're a
beer.
little young
some
for
kids
that.
might be watching this, so
That's true. So let's not talk about that anymore.
Yeah, let's not talk about that anymore. But you know, when you get older, you can try that stuff. But
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to like it much. Anyway, let's talk about some of the great awards and commendations that you've received, that you've gotten special things. And you know, Mom, if you want to jump in to remind Jeremy of all the great things that he's been given and awarded.
starting with 2011, Jeremy, in Canada.
I used to explain that.
In 2011, you were the Internationally Autistic Award winner for your jewelry business. You hosted the show 3 times in Canada. You traveled 3 different Canada locations. You were in the mayor's office having a commendation ceremony for Jeremy Cecil Kira with his mom as Chantel with
Yes.
the Autism
Yes.
College, and also another friend, Cooper Barella, and one more friend, I think, also for that time period. And it was a while ago. We've had a lot of awards.
Single.
Oh, okay, and commendations since then.
What's his name?
You just were
Adam Single?
no. You just recently were in
Yeah.
Patty Lopez's office event talking to business entrepreneurs, and you were the only kid.
The only kid?
The only kid.
Wow, you were there with a bunch of grown-ups?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And oh, sorry. And so just the shows.
I got it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I need
That is something that
Totally did.
comes up sometimes for you, Jeremy. Is sometimes you've had bloody noses. That is
Do you
true.
want a tissue?
I'm
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right, sweetheart.
But pretty much this is show season time for you. We've got in the next 4 months about 4 shows, I'm going to say. So
And
it
I've been there
continues.
when I've been to many of your shows. You have quite a setup. That's a lot of work, isn't it, for you to set up your
True.
displays? And you do it all
And
yourself,
it really
don't
is
you?
a pain. My parents or my kids don't help me set up.
It's your own design each time, and each time you do a
You
different.
guys can help me.
We
Yeah,
do.
but you're so independent, and you know, you're so capable. And I remember when you were showing Wyatt one day how you set it all up, and you know, I was so impressed with how you don't really need help from a grown-up. You're so creative, and you do it differently every time. How do you decide how you're going to set it up?
Just comes from my imagination.
Love that. We had a viewer who wrote in and said how they loved hearing your beautiful voice, and that they want to know if you have an IEP coming up. And I know that you have something, you attend your own IEPs, right? And do you give input about what happens at your IEP meetings?
Honestly, I can explain some stuff. Basically, I'm working on getting more schoolwork done. That's been improving. I used to have really bad grades. I had a lot of F's. Those have been coming into C's and D's, and pretty soon I've become coming into A's and B's. One was almost nearly a B. That's environmental science.
Okay.
Wonderful.
It's a C plus, and the best grade I've gotten now is Spanish. That's why I know so much Spanish. I got a B minus for that.
Oh, you know what? Wyatt would like to learn some Spanish. Maybe you
teach
could.
him.
Okay, cool.
You know with Spanish?
I know just a little bit, like como está, but he always asks me, like, what is this word in
And
Spanish?
so let me go and teach you some. Hola, me llamo Jeremy, too.
Hola. It's all really. Como está? I'm sorry.
You know so little,
I
honestly.
do know so little.
I thought
you hit
you
the nail.
knew that. That means, hi, my name is Jeremy,
Oh.
and you.
And,
Yes.
E2 means and you.
E2, yeah. That's like in French, et vous. How do I say my name is Nancy? I mean, I should know that.
Hola, me llamo, hola is hi. You can just say me llamo Jeremy,
Un dice mi amo
or you can say your name.
Nancy.
Me llamo Nancy,
Me
and
llamo
then you
Nancy.
say E2.
E2.
It is and
Right.
you.
Okay, I got it now. I can remember that one. Now, Diane, Jeremy, you're at a public school? What
I'm
school?
at a non-public school.
Non-public school.
Yes.
Yeah, you're in a non-public school.
And he's very well supported there.
Okay, great.
Is there some supports and services there that are helpful, Jeremy?
Counseling mainly. It's been helping me the stress moving.
Yes,
Good,
it's very stressful having to move.
Yes.
But maybe as you get moved, that will help to calm down a little bit.
You know where you're going to be close to? Remember when you came to
Esther.
Special Spirits, where the horses are, where Wyatt's horse, the Big Moon and Mini Moon?
True.
You're going to be very close to there, to
Very
Ava, and you can go over and visit and do art over there, and you can visit the horses, and Wyatt and I can meet you and your mom over there. And Wyatt, you guys can still do lots of play dates and stuff.
I don't mean to be rude, like I want to wrap this up. Like quicker that we can go on their phone play Gosh Class.
All right, and in
Okay,
fact,
cool.
we only
It's-
have 2 minutes left. Kelby just told me in my ear that we
And you
only
know
have
what?
2
You're
minutes.
not-
Yeah!
I would like to mention something in the Spanish-speaking community
Okay.
that is really popular right now, and that is Art for All Abilities in the city of San Fernando. I have an assistant that speaks Spanish, and they only charge $35 for 4 weeks. For if you're in the community, out of the community is $40 for 4 weeks. And we have a sensory break that we do in class, and it's a lot of fun. It shapes approach, good for all learning abilities.
And where should they go to get more information, Diane?
Okay, so the class is at Las Palmas at 4 o'clock on Thursdays. The sign-up, it's actually starting again this Thursday, would be the San Fernando Recreation Center, the one with the really cool pool over there.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
That's where they sign up.
Okay,
Great. Okay.
wonderful. Thank you guys so much for being here. This was really, really fun, and we appreciate everything that you guys have
Yes,
shared with us.
you are just,
Bye, everyone.
you're a remarkable young man, Jeremy, and
Thank
you're a
you.
remarkable mom.
Oh, it's just, look at it takes us moms to know these moms and kids.
Yay!